plaintiffs, Ben Level and his wife Kim, say when the defendant moved in next door to them, she seemed sad and alone. And she eventually confided in Kim that she was going through a divorce. Kim claims she soon realized that the defendant was a liar, and she falsely accused Ben of stalking her. Kim is suing for the balance due on a car and defamation. Defendant Heather Cisbero says the plaintiffs are horrible people who have stalked her and badmouth her to her friends and family. Heather claims she was forced to file a restraining order against Kim and Ben, and she's countersuing them for the harassment.
Start with you all.
Okay. Judge Mathis, I first met Ms. Cisbero when she moved in next door to me, alone, and seemed very sad all of the time. I befriended her over a period of a few months. In fact, we became very good friends. And she eventually confided in me about why she cried and why she was so upset. She had been going through a divorce with her husband, and I moved her into my house with me. We gave her free access to my husband's car.
I thought you were just going to say husband.
Please, no,
Right.
Don't think so.
That's a good point.
Please.
What happened to you all's relationship?
Things just weren't adding up. The things that she was telling me and the
Okay,
things,
because she was a liar, you decided to terminate your relationship.
that is partially true.
Okay,
Part
what
of
is
that
the other
true.
reason?
We were out to dinner one evening and she had a meltdown on me. She had an absolute meltdown on me and started screaming and hollering at me, ran out of the restaurant, went home, packed up her stuff, and left.
Okay. All right. Let me hear from you, ma'am.
I met them in September of 2012 when I moved next door. Yes, I was going through a divorce. That's fine and dandy. I became friends with her. She had asked me, she had told me that her husband was working in Texas and I could have got out of my lease at 6 months, and she asked me if I wanted to move into her home and take over her bills for her and kind of watch over their house while she was there in town, or staying out of state, staying out of state with her husband, which I said, but that makes a lot of sense. So I said, sure, I'll do that. I went ahead and moved in February. And it was the end of January and February. I stayed there all under the intentions that she was supposed to be moving out in March. Never happened. He ended up losing his job and coming back. I had paid her for this car on a weekly basis.
Okay, we haven't gotten to the car.
Sorry.
So I'm going to allow her to tell me why she's suing you regarding a car and the defamation she's claiming. Ma'am?
Okay. As she stated, she moved in with us around February. My husband was not in Texas any longer. He was at home. But we had...
That was before or after she moved in? Did he come home?
He was at home when she moved in.
That's not true.
That is true.
That is not true.
He came home at Christmas time and stayed and went back out of town in March and stayed gone for
All right,
a week.
we're just trying. We're still dealing with this free access. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I don't think so. We've been married 33 years, so I don't hardly think that's going to happen.
No.
Very good.
We, at any rate, in February, I agreed to sell Miss Cisbero my
February of what year?
2013
All right.
2004 Dodge Neon
How much?
for $3,500.
Okay. And what was the payment plan? Obviously, it was not completed because you're suing her. So
That's
what
right.
was the plan first?
The plan was
payment?
that she gave me $250 down, and when her divorce was final, she told me in March she would pay me.
Who has the title?
I have a statement from the
Let's see it,
notary.
please.
The notary is her friend, by the way, who,
Let's see the statement
just to
from
let
the
you know,
notary.
Yeah.
because that's who she buys her drugs from.
I heard you over there because that's
I'm
where she
sorry.
gets her drugs from. That's probably the defamation you're suing
yes.
her about.
Well,
Ma'am?
it's the harassment I'm going after.
No, I
so
say that she's suing you about. You said that that's where she gets her drugs from. You
okay,
made a
I'm so
statement
sorry.
of fact. Ma'am, be quiet. You made a statement of fact. I just
did.
heard you.
I did.
You said that's where she gets her drugs from. Is that the defamation?
Yes, sir.
Has she said this
Oh,
before?
God. It
most
Tell me
certainly is.
about
So
the
dramatic.
defamation. And I'm looking at the title. We'll address that shortly.
Okay. Yes, sir. First of all, she accuses I have a statement that she gave to the Hamilton Police Department when she pressed charges on my husband for stalking, because we were trying to find her address. The court had
Stalking in what way?
well, according to her, according to her, we drove back and forth in front of her house. According to her own statement.
What else?
She also calls us.
'Cause that's a court document, number one. So, and that's privilege. What is said to the court is not something that can be considered as defamation, because that discourages people from talking to the court or signing court documents. So outside of the court documents, tell me who she told that to. That would be enough. What do you have?
I have a recording of a message that she left my husband when we tried to go about the business of finding an address.
Saying that you were using drugs?
Yes. She pressed charges on my husband for stalking. I have a statement from the notary.
That's who she buys her drugs from.
I heard you over there, because that's
I'm
where
sorry.
she gets her drugs from. That's probably the defamation you're suing her about.
Well,
Ma'am?
it's the harassment I'm going after.
No, I say that she's suing you about.
Plaintiffs Ben Level and his wife Kim are suing their former friend, who claims she was forced to file a restraining order against Kim and Ben for stalking her.
Let's hear it.
Let me tell you something. I'm putting a restraining order against you and your entire family. I'm going to Fairfield and I'm going to Hamilton. You contact one person I know. You have no reason to be contacting me. I have done nothing wrong. There is no reason you have anybody looking for me. But they're going to be able to find you. I can guarantee that. Why don't you go ask your wife? Go ask your wife about Chuck, Ben. Go ask your wife about how she him while you were working on the Ford plant the entire time, and had a breakdown and told me all about it when she was in the hospital, decided that she needed to stay with you, and the guy died of a heart attack. Why don't you go talk to your wife if she's got two drugged up right now in bed? Why don't you go do that?
To her husband.
Why don't you go do that? Go to your lying cheating wife and leave me the alone. I am taking care of the situation right now. You come near me, and you're in serious. You leave me and anybody that knows me alone. There is nothing you're going to get out of me. There's nothing you can get out of me. I paid you money. I'm not paying you.
All right.
In my name,
Now, hold on. Sir, have you ever heard any type of rumor like this about your wife?
No, sir.
This is the first time you ever heard that your wife was using drugs?
Yes.
All right. Did it hurt her reputation with you?
Yes, sir.
Please.
No, you know,
Hey,
Your Honor,
her
that's-
reputation. What you do now? You check the bank accounts every day to make sure she's not pulling it out to use her drugs? Hey, you know your wife ain't did any of this. But, ma'am, you stated it right
I'm
here
sorry.
in court as a fact. So now the burden is on you to prove it. Now, if you can prove it, then you're off the hook. Prove that she is a drug user.
The only way I can prove it, Your Honor, is by the fact that when I would give her money, and this is the truth, I saw her with my own eyes.
All right, so that's all you want me to believe. Give me one specific incident.
Okay, for instance, she went and bought her sister's prescription from her.
When? What month or year?
It was either March or April. She did it both months.
Of what year?
2013.
Of 13.
She would buy her sister's medical prescriptions for Adderall and then give them to her daughter to sell for her. And she did that on
You said that she was. No.
It is
Hold
true.
on, ma'am.
You know it's
Ma'am,
true.
ma'am.
You know it's true.
Ma'am, what you said does not constitute her using drugs. What
But
you
she was
just
taking
said,
half of
no,
them and
you
then
just
having her
said she
daughter
takes
sell
them.
the other.
You said she takes them and gives them to her
Both.
daughter to sell.
Both.
You did not say that's enough, ma'am. I'm going to grant your defamation.
Thank you.
How much
Please get this over.
Yeah, okay. $1,000 for your defamation. I'm granting it. And your counterclaim for harassment? What have they done to you?
They have people drive past my house at all times.
Do you have a
They drive
restraining
past-
order?
I have a restraining order, Your Honor.
Okay,
They've
let's see
also
it,
called my
please.
family members. They've called my ex-husband. They've caused a lot of issues with me
Saying what?
that I've been dealing with.
Saying
Just
what?
making up lies, saying I'm a slut, saying that I stole a car from them. They were calling my phone. That's what I showed the cops. That's why they granted me what they granted me.
Was it ultimately disposed of one way or the other?
We go to court on Monday for
Okay,
this.
so we can't consider that. The court will determine whether they believe it occurred or not. So, with regard to the car, well, I'm looking here, and you all told them that you paid $500 for the purchase price. People do that a lot to reduce the taxes. But what they don't understand that is fraud. And I can't participate in your attempt to defraud the state of Ohio by putting down $500 instead of the $3,500 you attest to today. $1,000 is your judgment. Yours is dismissed. Have a good day.
Thank you. There's no amount of money in this world that it would be enough to just have them out of my life and away from me, because they're crazy, horrible people.
She filed 2 charges against Ben at the police station, and we went to the police station to get records, and that's not true.